Green Team, Teen Trillionaires, number 8, written by Art Baltazar and Franco, art by Ig Guara. This is the final issue. And in the last issue, God, where even begin? Okay, the Green Team broke into this rich guy's house who's basically the mastermind of everything. And it turns out that Commodore's dad, who was a supervillain from the first arc, is still alive, and he's also here. So they basically recap all that on the first page here. Also, his dad now has some like metal mind stuff that he has embedded in him so that he's able to like control it, and that's because of how Commodore seemingly killed him last time. And we show the full Green Team lineup, which is JP, whose nickname is Yowie, Commodore, whose nickname is apparently Technocrat, Cecilia, whose nickname is Apparition, and Mo, who's apparently super awesome guy. And that's because Mo's the one who named all of them. And I'm not going to go over the power set, but basically it's in order: Sasquatch, Tech Control, Visible Girl, and Weird. So then we also got like a scientist and then 2 other people here. Anyway, whole point of this is that the fight starts breaking out. Riot, which is Commodore's dad, starts being able to clone himself, that was his power before, and he just starts creating clones upon clones to come after and attack the Green Team. So Commodore starts firing off like metal bits in order to hold him back. With a few that make it through, Mo jumps in the way, and he's able to like phase them into his body, and they teleport out the back of him. And then they question Mo. It's like, hey, can you like teleport them other places? And he's like, let me try. So he teleports them like outside the building, and then tries farther away, like Rome. And he's like, yeah, I can teleport them. So he works on doing that. JP is in Sasquatch form, and he just starts destroying as many of them as he can. He's not able to be reasoned with at this moment. But Cecilia's like, hey, he'll listen to me. I'm just going to let him do his thing, and then I'll deal with him. So at that point, we see Riot comes over and like starts taunting Commodore, being like, oh, I'm you, after you attacked me last time, you cured me of my illness, my debilitating illness, and now my whole plan is that I'm gonna kill you so that way I can have your money back. Ha 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 ha. And so he gets blasted, and the fight basically just continues on with like all different sides here. We show the bodyguard of Mo is basically like, hey, look, this is getting worse by the minute. We need to get out of here. This is too much for us. And Mo's like, you know what? Agreed. Even without Belichick, the rich guy, like Riot's still even a bit too much for us. We're going to have to get everyone and bail out. So at that point, Belichick is talking to his men being like, hey, kill all of them. And he's just like, well, sir, you know, this situation's getting a bit out of hand. How about we just bail? And Belichick's like, good idea, let's go. So the only one left in the fight really is Riot. But Belichick does say, like, you haven't seen the last of me before he bails. So at that point, Cecilia is like, the whole plan is to bail. Cecilia needs to go over and talk to JP, calm him down. And she does her best to get over, but like, he is in a frenzy. He is unable to be talked with at all at this point. So at that point, we got Commodore versus Riot, and it's basically just a one-on-one, but every step that Commodore takes against him, Riot just like clones and is easily able to keep doing that. And Riot's taunting him, saying like, oh, this is like, I will kill you, and then I'm going to torture your friends for quite some time, and I'm going to extend their miseries as long as possible. And Commodore takes that personally. He's like, you know what? Screw this. I'm just going to kill you. I don't want to go that far, but I'm going to do this. And he uses his like control of technology and stuff to start bringing down the whole building that they're in. He like literally tears it apart shred to shred. And he's like, yep, you know, I always wanted superpowers, and maybe the way I did it was not the smartest way, but you know what? I'm not going to regret this for the rest of my life. I'm going to do something about it. I'm over the sins of my father. So he starts trying to bring down the building. Cecilia finally gets over to JP and starts trying to calm him down. Mo's just trying to like get everyone gathered so that he can teleport him out of there. But like, he can't get a hold of Commodore. Commodore is too focused in this. And Commodore's like, hey, I'm sorry. This is how it ends. Get everyone out of here. I'm out. Like, this is just me. So Cecilia locks hands with JP, and it seems like the whole building comes down on Commodore and his dad, and the rest of the green team, honestly. And as the buildings collapse, we see Cecilia's hands reach out from the rubble, and it's followed by the entire rest of the team, who has all linked hands together with Cecilia and therefore have gotten her apparition abilities. So they all come out on top of the rubble. They look at what they've done to Chicago, and it's like, yeah, maybe we should get out of here. Mo, can you teleport us out here? So Mo teleports him back out to like the green team headquarters. And at that point, the bodyguard comes out being like, dude, you brought down a building in the middle of Chicago. I think that's a bit too far. And Commodore's like, look, I needed to stop him. It was the only way. I was counting on Cecilia to get us out of there. It was all under control. And essentially at that point, they just kind of stop. Like they JP calls up and he's like, I can't believe that we all have these superpowers now. Why is this happening to us? And Commodore's like, what do you mean? It's awesome. We're the green team. And everyone's like, dude, we're never going to get anything cool done with a name like the green team. It's such a stupid name. And he's like, yeah, you're right. But we're even better than superheroes because we have powers and money. By the way, I have an idea. And then we cut over to Teen Titans HQ, where the Commodore's Batmobile that he bought from an auction comes cruising in. Red Robin's like, that ain't the Batmobile. Everyone fall in. We're under attack. And Commodore pops his head out and he's like, hey, Teen Titans, just wanted to talk. I'm Commodore. You may have heard of me. I'm super rich. I'd like to buy the licensing rights to Teen Titans. Here's a sack full of money. I'm buying the Teen Titans. And that's how it ends. He just tries to buy the Teen Titans. This book never really came together. And that's a shame. I think that the early issues had some promise to them. They had an idea as to like what they were going for. But by the time you hit the ending, it just feels like it never really had not even a moral, just like it never had a thing it was aiming for. Like even plot wise and not even messaging, just like what were we really doing this whole time? Like I thought maybe it was the Belichick thing, but then in the end, the father just came back and it kind of just felt like they realized they were getting canceled and they couldn't develop Belichick into a real villain. So they just brought back the original one and beat him again. So, and then the ending with the Teen Titans, I mean, it's kind of a funny note, but it also feels like the characters haven't learned anything. It doesn't feel like I feel like the basis of the story should have been this group gets powers and throughout whatever machinations, they realize money isn't everything. But they didn't. And quite literally, they say that we're better than superheroes because we have money. So, no lessons were learned, I guess. Anyway, it's not an awful series. I understand why it wasn't collected. I can understand why people weren't scrambling to get a trade paperback of Green Team. It's just kind of a weird little thing in the middle of the New 52 that I don't know what the point was when it's all said and done. So I'm going to give this I'll give it like I was going to say 6, but honestly, I think I'm going to go with a 5.5. It is carrying the burden of the previous 7 issues on it. Like, I'm kind of rating it lower for that, but yeah, no, it just wasn't a great series. 5.5.